Once upon a time, there lived a little girl who hid her humble origins all her life and preferred to invent her own legend. Once upon a time, Gabrielle Chanel was born under the sign of the Leo to a traveling peddler and a laundress who died at 32, exhausted by life. Once upon a time, there was a father who abandoned his 5 children and had his 3 daughters sent away to an orphanage. At 12 years old, Gabrielle would never see him again. Forever after, she pretended that he had left to make his way in America. Once upon a time, there was an orphanage behind the walls of a convent, the Abbey of Aubazine, where Gabrielle spent nearly 7 years. The Romanesque purity of this ascetic world would inspire her sense of austerity and her taste for black and white, while the opulence of religious garments and ceremonial objects would spark her fascination with Baroque style, gold and colored gems in years to come. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful young girl who spent her days sewing and her nights singing in a cabaret before troops of cavalrymen. She was called Coco because she often sang, "Who's seen Coco in the Trocadero?" She always preferred to pretend that Coco was the nickname given to her by her father. Once upon a time, a young woman with a boyish allure refused to ride side-saddle on the horses of a well-born cavalier, Etienne Balzan. She dressed like no one else, taking her inspiration from masculine attire and inventing new styles of hat, which she stripped off their birds and feathers to make them simpler, lighter, more chic. Her first clients were working girls, but society quickly followed. Once upon a time, there was a great love named Boy Capel. English, wealthy, and cultivated, he was the man of her dreams. He introduced her to literature, the Orient, and the esoteric. Boy helped Coco become Chanel. She decided to open her first boutiques in Paris, Deauville, and Biarritz. She wanted to work to win her liberty. Once upon a time, a revolution came to pass when, in a stroke of genius, Coco Chanel transformed the female silhouette. She shortened dresses, revealed ankles, freed the waist, eliminated corsets, revived jersey, cut her hair and bronzed her skin. Chanel closed one era and launched a new century of fashion. Once upon a time, at 31 Rue Cambon, Mademoiselle Chanel opened her first couture house in Paris in 1918. The little country girl, the orphan of Aubazine, had become the queen of Paris. Before liberating women, she had liberated herself. Once upon a time, there was a love story that ended abruptly. Boy Capel died in a car accident. For the first and last time, Coco Chanel was seen to cry. "Either I die as well," she said, "or I finish what we started together." She chose to go on. Once upon a time, Gabrielle Chanel made a triumphant return, beginning as if from the first day. She rails against the fashions designed by men who have once again bound women in bustiers, corsets, and full skirts. Mademoiselle rallies her team and reopens her couture house. She's 70 years old. Once upon a time, Coco Chanel chose her lucky number as the date for her first runway show, February 5, 1954. Sitting unseen at the top of the famous staircase on the Rue Cambon, she watches as her models parade in utter silence. The French press tears her apart, ridiculing her designs and sneering at her age. Once upon a time, America soon discovered and embraced the style of Chanel. Life, the most read magazine in the United States, writes, "At 71 years old, Gabrielle Chanel brings more than a style, a revolution." Coco Chanel regains her influence and once again impresses her style upon the world. Once upon a time, there was a legendary Chanel suit with a military-inspired jacket in braided tweed, patch pockets, buttons like jewels, and a unique fit thanks to the chain concealed within its hem. Once upon a time, an instant classic, the Chanel suit was everywhere, seen in cities and in cinemas, worn by Marlene Dietrich, Brigitte Bardot, Romy Schneider, Grace Kelly, Ingrid Bergman, and Liz Taylor. Once upon a time, a fashion designer tirelessly pursued her life's work, each day adding to the allure of Chanel. The beige shoe with its black toe, the quilted bag and its chain shoulder strap, and later, as if in farewell, number 19. Once upon a time, Gabrielle Chanel, terribly alone, conducted her fittings until the end. Working the fabrics with her 8 fingers, she gives the last snips of the scissors and sets the final pins to her life's work. She who had loved so much, now loves only her work. Once upon a time, Mademoiselle Chanel, then over 80 years old, crossed the road on her way to work. She sleeps at the Ritz but lives in her apartment on the Rue Cambon, underneath her ateliers and close to her couturiers. Forewarned of her arrival by the porter at the Ritz, an employee would spray the staircase of the Rue Cambon with her perfume, Chanel number 5. Once upon a time, death arrived one Sunday, the only day that she never worked. Gabrielle Chanel passes away on January 10th, 1971. She had designed her own tomb. Without stone above me, she said, I would want to leave if I had the wish to go to heaven and dress the angels. Once upon a time, a woman became a legend. André Malraux will declare, of this century in France, 3 names will remain: de Gaulle, Picasso, and Chanel. Once upon a time, the feminine eternal is forever defined by the house of Chanel. Nearly half a century after the death of Mademoiselle, the style of Chanel endures thanks to the genius of Karl Lagerfeld, who never ceases to cultivate, to reinvent, and to exalt its legacy. Once upon a time, there was Chanel.